Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here, and I am here with Nick, who is on my channel all the goddamn time, playing Centurion, getting
What's going
15th
on?
place at the Remote Duel Regional. How was your experience, buddy?
Swell. It was real swell. That's what the word I would use.
You never drew any bricks, right? You never
No,
drew.
never. No. I switched from one bricky deck to a less bricky deck, and I never drew any bricks.
Chigurity to Centurion, never brick.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Okay, you can
All
show
right,
us this
let's
great pile of cards.
get into the profile here. Okay, let's start with the main board. I was gonna go by engines, so I'm running three, 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 one, three, and one. Okay, let's explain that.
Can you just say their?
What did I even just say?
Can you just say the names of them?
Yeah, I'm playing three Primera. This is D tier video explanation right here. Three Trudia,
Okay.
three Field Spell, which is Stand Up Centurion, a terraforming to search it, three Emblem of Oath, and one Emeth.
Okay.
Some people play two of this. I'm playing one because I don't want to draw it. I draw it anyway though, so it's fine. Um, it's really splendid. Um,
It still got you
any
right.
Yeah, it works though. It's okay to draw. It's like not ideal though. It's like a low quality card. That's the phrase I would use.
Yeah.
Any of these are starters though, and some of them in combinations can be extenders. So that's something you want to know. Like Emblem Oath is like the best extender one. That's also a starter. These don't combo together, but like most of them can kind of mix together as extenders.
Yeah.
So you have 13 starters, right? 3, 6,
Yeah.
9, 12, 13.
That's pretty
13
good.
starters
That's,
right here.
that's like a really good number for,
Yeah,
starters.
very solid. And you run the one guy, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very, very lean Centurion list. A lot of people will run the trap card in the main board and the quick play spell. I even cut those out because they don't start combos. So let's move on to the next stuff. We actually have more starters here. We have three Super Heavy Samurai Motorbike, three Wakauchi, one Soul Gaia Booster, and one Big Benkei. Some people will run two of this. Again, I don't want to draw it. I draw it anyway. Fine.
It's glued to your hand,
It's
bro.
it's the same kind of thing that's going on here.
Uh,
These guys are also technically starters, Bike and Wakaushi, because they can get you to the rank 4 XYZ. I'll show you in a bit. So these technically can get you to the Trudia, which means you can just combo. There we go in the glare.
oh, okay. Oh, she's a pyro, right? So you can just search her?
Because she's the Pyro, yeah. You can search
I
her off the
see.
Flame Banshee.
Okay.
But on top of that, the Wakaushi or the Bike really can help you make level 12 synchros pretty easily. If you know super heavy stuff, you know they can pretty easily do that. And Bike specifically can help you make a Baron by 5 summons. So depending on what you need, the deck's like super heavy engine can start your combo, like add to it or protect it.
Yeah.
So very good, very versatile. I really like the deck with super heavies in it. I don't think I would cut these.
I'm happy it worked out.
And
I'm not like I was telling you before. I'm not super inept on the Centurion deck building process, but I don't know how much super heavy I've seen in there.
Okay, so that's a good point, actually. I wanted to bring this up to give credit where it's due. I got this idea from Nesh on one of his videos a couple months back to run the super heavy stuff. I really liked the idea. I tried it out and I said, you know what, this does work. So I ran with it. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to run an engine that's just like Centurions and a bunch of hand traps because you very often just lose to like an Impermanent Ash or Veiler, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
you can't
to
push
say.
through anything.
Yeah, you just kind of fall over. And yeah, I mean, like the hand traps are cool, but the format's a little wide.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I have the choice between hand traps or an engine that like does stuff, I'd rather just do stuff since I'm not sure my hand traps are going to line up too well. That's kind of my approach on why I chose super heavy as well. It's another reason.
Yeah.
The last engine I'm running, and again, this is a very small version of this engine. I'm running 3 Imseti, Glory of Horus, 1 King Sark, and 1 Happy. Some people run 2 King Sark. I don't want to draw it though. Did I draw it today? Yes, I did. But it wasn't that bad. This is not too bad to draw in certain scenarios. So I think I resolved in SETI once. Every other time it got ashed. So just expect this thing to get ashed. It's an ash magnet. You pitch for cost another card. People are looking for 2-for-1s. However, that chain blocks. You know, it does the job.
It also baits out other hand
Otherwise,
traps too. Like that's like
exactly.
good for
Yeah.
this deck.
That's kind of the point. You're trying to like the Horus engine is there, just like the super heavy engine, to protect your play in a way. So like if you can make a Baron off the bike, if you can make the Photon Lord off the Horus play, then you're trying to do that before you make the Centurion play.
Right.
And if they ask this, then I mean it kind of did that, right? Like ideally you'd like to keep your King Sark, but it doesn't always
Yeah.
happen. So that's that. And then the rest of the deck is just some hand traps. Some of these are questionable. You can laugh at them as they come out. 3 Ash and 3 Veiler. Those are pretty normal. I got 1 Mag and 2 Druis. I decided with the Bystials because they can help you combo in addition to being hand traps, but admittedly, they didn't really come up too much, and I sided them out a lot. The format's a little wide and it's not too light and dark heavy. I would probably switch these out for something else.
I thought it was funny. One of the games I actually watched you actually pushed through a board going second because of the Bystials to get through it.
Right. I mean, it does happen, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
Druis Worms are really, really good at helping with that, but not always, you know.
Mhm.
So I think I would probably cut these, but it's not like for sure. If you like them,
Right.
play them, you know.
Like I could just get
The
through the
last
hand
thing,
traps, I'm assuming.
yeah, it could be something else. It could be Nib. I played Nib in the main. I played Joel in the main. That's just where I'm at right now. The
Mhm.
Bystials. I think Ash and Veiler are pretty solid, but apart from that, the last little bit here is one. Don't laugh. It's 1 Gamma, 2 Delta, and a Driver. I can't say this did anything today. I wish I could say like, yeah, you know, we got him with the Gamma, we got him with the Delta. I got people, I guess, with Delta, but it didn't matter because I don't know. It's like a glorified Ash Blossom that can stop like a Prosperity, I guess, but only sometimes. So these are bad. I was running 3 Fenrir and a Planet, Pressured Planet, as my like 36 through 40 right here, but I got tired of getting nibbed in game ones by summoning Fenrir first.
Oh, okay, I see.
So
Yeah, does your normal combo do 4 without it?
yes, that's a good point. The Centurion combo on its own, Legatia, the last guy, is your 4th summon, so you can't get nibbed. But maybe like in the sideboard, Fenrir is better. But in game one, like if they have a nib, they're going to be like, oh, here's the free nib, you know, because
Yeah.
they're not going to have nib for you after that usually.
Mm-hmm.
Except in this build, if they like pick up on it, they might see the super heavy stuff and like, oh, he goes into more than 5 summons, so I
Right.
will keep the nib in. But the whole point with that is if I'm going into motorbike or Imseti, I probably have a negate by the time the nib came up anyway. So nib
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really hurt me too
Both
much.
of those engines lead into a monster negate regardless, so it's like,
Yeah,
what's the point?
exactly. These things stink. I would replace them for anything else. So
I saw you
that's the
gamma.
verdict on
I
them.
saw you gamma somebody.
I think I gammed like a buzzsaw shark or something. And yeah, that I don't think it even mattered. But
Oh,
all
so
right,
funny.
so for the extra deck, let's see. I'm running 2 Legatia. Some people will run 3 of this. I'm just running 2. It's really good. Draws you a card on summon, and it helps you like each end phase get your engine going. It's Centurion card. You're just gonna play this thing. Um, the level 12s, I'm running the Crimson, and then it's 2 tag out targets, Calamity and Blazar. Most of the time you're going for Calamity, but there are some matchups where a Blazar might be better. A good Unchained player could actually beat this little setup. I was talking to somebody, if you open like Sharvara plus like a set back row, you can actually get to Abominable Unchained Soul before this Crimson Dragon gets to tag out. And everything's being like chain linked one, so there's never a point where you can
Oh,
drop this. Um, and they can just beat you on that. So you can't even actually get into the Blazar there either. So you should actually just not make a Crimson. You should just make a Legati on their turn. In that scenario. But little thing to like little niche thing to pay attention to. If they know what they're doing, they will go into a bomb to try and stop this line.
right.
And if you expect that, then you should actually not go into this. You should go into this.
Mm,
But
that
most of the
makes
time, you're
sense.
going into the Calamity because it's LOL Calamity.deck.
Well, Shavara's going to
You
1
want
anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, if Thoreau's going to 1, that's not going to happen anymore. That's true. We're on the eve of the ban list. Blazar is an insane card. Don't discount this thing just because Calamity's here. This card is bonkers. If the game goes on for more than like a turn, this thing just negates a card every time. Random ruling on this one that I learned like a week or 2 ago is if this is like Dark Rulered or Dropleted and you banish it for cost, it's part of its cost is it says banish until the end phase to activate it. So even if it gets negated, it'll come back. If you're doing that to try and like play around, I don't know, like an access code sweeping it off the board, you can just negate some random thing and then it'll just come back at the end of the turn.
Oh, okay.
So very relevant.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, very cool. This thing is like the only card I've encountered that says that, like banish until the end phase is cost. I can't think
Huh.
of a. Like, it's very hard to like catch this thing. Even if it
Yeah.
gets negated by like a Baron or a Savage, it just
Mhm.
comes back. You know.
That's so weird.
The rest of the synchros, I'm running Excel, and Baron. That's for the motorbike line.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running this guy, this tilting entrainment thing that Super Heavy would run.
Oh, yes.
And this is for like a Wakaushi start because you can go summon this guy via Soul Gaia and Wakaushi, and then he summons out the Wakaushi, and then that can make Legatia. And now you have your Legatia without even having to start with your Centurion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can actually make the Crimson, and that can go into Blazar. And now you have like a negate for their like Cosmic or whatever on their turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can remake the Crimson on their turn. Now you have like this board state.
Oh, God.
Crimson, Blazar, Legatia, because you opened like Wakaushi plus the Centurion, you know.
And then you can Calamity them.
And then you Calamity them with like a protection attached to
It always
really
leads into Calamity.
For the XYZs, these are for the Horus engine mostly. I'm running the Photon Lord.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's for your like to block hand traps. And I'm running Zombie Vampire because I thought there might be some scenarios where you open only the Horus engine, and if you summon this and you mill like Frutia or Primera, you can combo. I did not summon this once today. I haven't summoned this like very much at all, so it's definitely cuttable. But I don't know, it's there.
Yeah.
For the rank 4, I'm running the Flame Banshee. That's for the little Wakaushi play into Trudia. That's usually what it's for.
Yeah, their starter.
And it's your starter. Yep. It can also help to make Zeus. I don't think I made Zeus today, but I did make the Banshee once or twice. So it's good. Like if you detach off a Banshee and they like impermanent or something, you can go like battle phase attack, make Zeus, swipe the board anyway. And if you have like one of your 13 Centurion starters anyway, you can just play, you know.
Yeah.
So and then I have a Typhon, it's Typhon. Didn't summon it once. And I'm running one Artemis and one SP Little Knight. The Artemis is because Primera, one of the starters, is a spellcaster. So you can make this, and then you can make SP. There are some board states where you'll have like Primera and Trudia on the board, but Trudia was like normal summoned or something. And you can't actually get to the Emeth because the Emeth is like already in the graveyard. That's where you'd run 2 Emeth maybe, right? But if you can't, then you can just like turn the Primera into this and turn Trudia plus this into SP, and you get like an interrupt there.
Yeah.
Way to break a board. So it's nice. I was running IP before, but I feel like the IP came up way less than this does. I like this a lot better.
I mean, SP's a hell of a card, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. This card is like the new. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the new gold standard. Like you compare everything to this now.
Yeah, you have to.
For sideboard, I was running 3 Nib and 3 Droll. These are, like your blowout hand traps, the matchups. Puts these in against like Manadium, puts them in against whatever combo deck. And, they're good. I'm running 3 Crow and 3 Bell. Bell is for Labyrinth mostly, but obviously these things have other applications. If you notice, these are all monsters. I'm doing that because of the super heavy stuff. I'm not running Imperm because I feel like that conflicts too much. Like, when are you going to Imperm if you have a super heavy in your hand?
Right. Makes sense.
So otherwise that would be in the deck, admittedly. Like if super heavy was cut, then Imperm would be in the main board.
Right.
I think it's like a very, very good hand trap. So that's there. And then the last 3, I was running 2 Phantasme and 1 Centurion Phalanx. So I put this in usually when I'm going first. Sometimes I'll keep it for second as well. This is a good interrupt if you already have the rest of your combo with Primera. It's like kind of like a Farfa in a way. Just think of it that way. It has a good graveyard effect too to revive the Legatia as an interrupt again later on and like draw you a card. So a lot of value can come out of this thing. Not the greatest draw when you're going second though, so that's why I don't main it.
It's interesting that you're only one side deck card for going first.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a really good point because when I was going first, I oftentimes looked at the hand trap lineup and I was like, okay, what do I want to put in? Because most of the stuff is staying. Like the Horus stuff is staying, super heavy staying. The only stuff that would get swapped out would like maybe
Gamma Delta drivers coming out.
Yes. Like it was very often today. It was very often like 2 deltas were coming out for something here.
Yeah.
Like a Phalanx and like some other stuff. Like maybe all of this was coming out. Maybe all of this plus the Bestials, and you just put some other stuff in here.
Right.
One thing I have done a lot, which you can tell me, whoever decides to try this deck, if your mileage is better than mine. When I'm going second, sometimes I'll side out the super heavy stuff because it's a nice like 8-card stack that you can just side out for if you like a lot of this stuff and you want it against say Manadium, you just like put in boom like 6 cards right here and you're gonna stuff them. and then it'll get to you. As long as you can get your combo off, you're going to calamity them on the next turn if they even, they're still breathing, and then yeah, you get them.
Yeah. All right.
But that's the deck. I don't know. I don't know what else we can say about Centurion.
All right. Question, because I know someone's going to ask this. Do you think this deck is playable without SP Little Knight?
Sure. Yeah.
Every profile I make, somebody asks and says,
like,
I can't afford Little Knight. Is this deck playable without it? I mean, Centurion's not really budget anyway. Most of their cards are pretty expensive, I think. But
yeah, like the bunch of their guys are like $30 starters and stuff.
But every time someone asks that, so I figured I'd just ask
That's
it now.
that's a good question. I'd say yeah. Like I definitely summon this like once a match. I would say so. On average, like once every 3 games, probably maybe once every 2 games. But you don't have to run it. Like there's probably some other stuff you could run. I feel like you'll be missing out, but that's the case with every deck. Think of it like that.
Yeah.
Like it's about average when it comes to SP use. There are other decks that use this a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would say about it.
And you said you would cut the Bestials and the Psy frames?
I think that those definitely can be cut. I think that I personally would cut them for something else. I'm not really sure what.
Like depending where the meta goes, right? I'm assuming because it's obviously.
Yeah, that's a good point because like the ban list is coming, and I think that might make it more clear what should be good. This format's very wide, like I said, and the hand traps are kind of tough to run. Like
yeah, you don't want dead stuff in there either.
Yeah, you never want to like have Droll in the main and your opponent's like, okay, like normal summon Labyrinth Chick, or they're like, normal summon Tour Guide, and you're like, that's great. Oh, this is useless,
Yeah.
That's like the worst feeling for me. I would rather have like a Fenrir in my hand at that point and be like, okay, at least I can try and like use this Fenrir. I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I think you said that before. Like my goal, like with a deck, is like I want to be able to play the game. So if a Droll like is just sitting in the hand, this is not really that interesting to me. It's like it's kind of boring that I have to run that card right there.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I understand. Yeah, you want everything as live as possible in your hand.
Yes.
No, that makes sense.
That's why there's like 3 different engines in the deck. I'm very much like a jam everything into your deck kind of guy when it comes to the deck building. So this
what your
like,
Dragunity deck would never do that.
No, yeah, the Dragunity deck is bare bones, right? But like if there was like a 4th engine, for example, that could go into like these slots, like a clear 4th engine that would be really good. Maybe I would do that. Maybe it's like, Lubellion. I know some people like that. Some people like the Dogmaticas. Maybe I give those a try. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Well, is there anything else you want to say before closing out?
Shout out to Nesh, like I said before, for looking at this as a deck option. I got the idea from him. I'm hoping that there's more support for this deck coming out. I assume there will be. It's a deck build pack archetype. Aside from its, cousins, what Valmonica needs some help, as we were just talking about.
I think more than one card.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right, sounds good. Well, congratulations again. I'm assuming we'll see you at the NAWCQ. And
very likely.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you did. And until then, we'll see you in the next video. And a Merry Christmas. Bye, guys.
Merry Christmas.